Hello, everyone. Welcome. As you are joining today's session, feel free to write in the chat your name, your school, your trek here, and where you're calling in from. Welcome. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Joan.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a few minutes. And if you're just joining us, please feel free to write in the chat your name, your school, your trek here, and what city you're calling in from. Hi, Allison. Hi, Angela. Hi, Malika. Hi, Louis. Nori's here. We've got Emory. We've got Georgetown. Awesome. Okay, so I think we'll get started. Some more people are joining us. You can share your information in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. But now let's get started. So want to welcome everyone. Hi, excited to be here. Thank you for joining us wherever you're calling in from. This is an itrek kitchen event with Chef Moshe Basson from Eucalyptus. This event is exclusive for our itrek alumni to bring the flavors of Israel into your home. And we're really happy to have so many alumni here from all around the world. My name is Rana Adis. I'm thrilled to be here with you guys today. And by joining today's event, you've earned yourself 1,500 itrek miles to go toward your itrek kitchen passport, the itrek Network Culinary Loyalty Program. So a few reminders before we get started. Number one, if you have any questions during the session, feel free to throw them in the chat. It'll be moderated by our moderator, David, who I will be introducing in just a minute. Remember to take a photo of your dish before you eat it. More details to come about that. And number three, final reminder is that we are recording today's session so we can share it with anyone who isn't able to join us today. So with that, I'm happy to introduce you to our moderator, David Bass. He's an itrek leader who led GW Lost Treks in 2019 and 2020. And with that, I'll give it to David.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Rena. Like Rena said, I'm an alumni, super excited to be here. Today, we'll be making Chef Moshe Basson's delicious, absolutely delicious, vegetable makluba with figs, honey, and mascarpone. Like Rena said, if you have any questions throughout the process, whether it's about the actual process of making the dish, or just questions for Chef Moshe, just put them in the chat and I will pass them along. So at this time, I'm thrilled to introduce Chef Moshe. I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on him. Chef Moshe Basson is an internationally renowned master chef specializing in modern Israeli biblical cuisine. Chef Moshe is a founder and chef of the Eucalyptus restaurant in Jerusalem and an Israeli food historian. Utilizing his schooling in agriculture and passion for studying ancient script, Chef Moshe has incorporated into the restaurant's kosher menu many dishes that were based on foods eaten for many centuries in the region. Well known to his slow food movement following his nomination for the 2000 award for biodiversity, Chef Moshe is also a founding member of the Chefs for Peace Association of Israeli and Palestinian cooks, Christian, Muslim, and Jewish, united by a love of good food. Chef Moshe is often invited to cook in the US and host cooking workshops. Chef Moshe has cooked around the world from various food festivals and pop-up restaurant events throughout Europe, including France, Germany, Poland, and the UK, to food and wine festivals all the way out in Australia. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over the floor and our kitchens to Chef Moshe. Oh, Chef Moshe, I think we have to unmute your microphone.
Okay. So now look at you.
And now, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yep, we can hear you.
Great. So I was adding that I was cooking this food as well in the Kennedy Center in DC and for Mickey Mouse in Disney in Epcot. But let's start because we have now a sort of busy time to start and then we can talk. I want just to have the stock ready and the vegetables in the oven, and then we will have plenty of time to talk. So a little bit of olive oil, a roughly cut onion, and pieces of the mushrooms that I'm not going to use or leftovers or so. This goes here, as well as the fennel stalks that I'm not cooking them, but for the stock they are good. Leeks. And I'm cutting it sort of roughly, checking that there is no dirt between the leaves, like here. So you have to wipe it and be sure that you're using clean parts.
So Chef, while we do this, could you maybe explain a little bit, I guess, what influenced you to get into cooking, and also what has defined your unique biblical style of cooking?
Well, by the time my answer was changed, because as you become older, you understand a bit more about really what's brought you to do this thing. And I think that sometimes, in a way that you cannot really explain and understand, you're following your destiny. It's something that was chosen for you, and all the way that you go, like me, through special unit in the army, having a farm in the desert, studying and raising sheep. And after all, when my brother Yaakov decided to open a restaurant under my eucalyptus tree that I planted as a child in our yard, I'm just adding cold water because we want, when we use hot water, it will close the vegetables, and we want the vegetables to give their blood and soul to the stock. So we are using cold water, and I was adding again onion. For the onion and the beginning of the mushrooms, I was using heat with with some oil. And now I'm going, normally I will go slow. Here I'm doing it a bit quicker. Quicker, it means that I'm using a high temperature that normally I will do it on a very low. So some peppercorn and some allspice. So my brother Yaakov decided to open a restaurant from what used to be our home under eucalyptus tree that I planted when I was 12, and it means that it was 60 years ago. A nutmeg, the best way is to use the whole nutmeg and not the powder. unless it's really a good company and it's really fresh.
So, Chef, we have a question from Louis. What type of olive oil do you have a preference for what type of olive oil to use?
Sorry?
We have a question from the chat from Louis. Do you have a preference of olive oil to use?
You see, as a religious member of Slow Food, I'm using mostly regional thing, like all my wines are from Israel. Most of them are from the region. So also my olive oil is from the Jerusalem mountains, very close to the restaurant. I'm adding the dried mushroom, the shiitake mushroom that was soaked in water. And another thing that not to forget, I want to prepare the saffron. Never add saffron to boiling water or boiling soup. It's an old Persian woman told me, if you put warm water on your saffron, you consider to be a murderer. So always cold water. I mean, room temperature water, and we will leave it and you'll see how it's dyeing the water in this beautiful golden yellow. I will add some turmeric, and you can do it with fresh turmeric also. You know that today you can buy it next to the ginger in the whole food shops. Salt, I will add this.
Chef
Mediterranean beautiful salt.
Chef Moshe, do you have a favorite dish that you like to cook or you like to eat? Is there anything that you would consider your favorite dish?
You know, it sounds crazy, but I have a favorite dish for every day and a favorite dish for every time in the day. But I found myself inviting to this location here, to my garden at home, my friends and colleagues to eat with me shakshuka. So next time, shakshuka. And I like to make the traditional shakshuka with a tomato and bell peppers and a bit hot, or green shakshuka with a spinach or wild mallow in season. But shakshuka is always around. I like very much to cook the makluba, if it's vegan makluba, or chicken makluba, or lamb makluba. I like very much lamb. And I'm starting now. This will go for like 20 minutes to boil. So I think that almost everything.
Chef, you mentioned you have a garden. What are you currently growing in your garden?
Wow. It's too dark to go to a tour in my garden now, but I have like 27 fruit trees. Here is the lemon and the carambula. The star fruit is growing here. Later on, maybe Lior will give you a quick show. My chickens and my quails are here on the left. This is the chamama. I forgot the English name for this. Michal, are you there to help me?
Greenhouse.
Greenhouse. This is my greenhouse where I'm preparing my seedless mostly. I have pumpkins. I was picking today one, and I will ask Lior to bring it to show you. Huge pumpkin that was hanged on the tree. It's not growing on the trees, but the vine of the pumpkin was climbing on the tree. And put it just here, everybody will see it.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't easy to carry it alone from there. So I had here tomato. This is curry leaves. I like to make a green curry. So you see the color, it's became golden. We will give it another whisk. The soup or the stock is almost going to be ready. And I can go and start to prepare the vegetables for the makluba. I forgot to use the celery, or this one is parsley root. We want our stock to be the tastier thing that could be. Nobody will feel if someone is a meat eater, he will not feel something that it's not a chicken soup. It will be just like a chicken soup. So my saffron going in with a little bit to wash it. And I start to cut the vegetables for the makluba, because makluba is a dish of vegetables, rice, and sort of meat or protein, or in our case, it will be mushrooms. And all of this cooked together, and the result is amazing mixture. And sometimes I'm saying that makluba is really, for me, the dish of chef's four-piece, because I don't like the idea of a pigeon on a grill in a brochette of olive oil. And makluba it's amazing because you cook different ingredients, different fats, nationalities, and this is the width of potato, eggplant. That's the way that I'm doing the fennel, carrot. So in makluba, you use all these different ingredients, you cook them together in hell of fire, boiling. The rice is bonding them, but when you turn it upside down, you still can identify each one and what is it. That's the way to make this. Each one will have to keep his identity. Jewish are not going to be Muslim, Muslim are not going to be Christian, Palestinian will remain Palestinian, Israelis will remain Israelis, but they can live together in this makluba and in life. And each is making the other taste better and increasing the taste of each of the other one. some of my mushrooms, like the king mushroom. Like in a month, I will be picking these mushrooms in the mountains here around Jerusalem. And I need some more mushrooms, Lior, from inside. So now for this step, you can easily deep fry the vegetable, but I found that especially today when people trying to skip too much oils, you can use hot oven and use it there. So I will take some portobello mushroom, between a little bit more celery here, a champignon, oyster mushroom. They're all good for the makluba, and they will be happy to be there.
So, chef, for any like aspiring cook, do you have a kitchen tool that you think everyone should have in the kitchen?
Yes and no, because I'm always saying that if you want to cook and you love to cook, really you can manage with almost nothing. If you have a source of heating, fire, a wood fire, gas fire, electric fire, you need a source of heat, and a passion for cooking, that's all. And use your imagination, follow some recipes and then play with them as you like. So nothing have to stop you from cooking. If you want to cook, you'll cook. There is no excuse of I don't have so, I don't have that or that. Now, especially on the mushrooms, be sure to give a beautiful portion of salt on the mushrooms and spices, because mushrooms that are just baked in the oven or on pizza without preparing them that you'll really give them a generous quantity of olive oil and salt. So I'm salting it like that, but then I'm going back to the mushrooms. The mushrooms would like more salt. And we want our dish to be tasty.
So chef, you mentioned that you,
please.
So you mentioned that you got into cooking at like a very young age. Did you go to culinary school? Are you all self-taught? Like, how did you get to where you are now and learn all the techniques and the recipes?
I'm so sorry to disappoint you. No, none of them. I wasn't trained by any chef. I didn't go to any school. My teachers are the best teachers in the world, our mothers and grandmothers in the region, my own and others. I can be in the Chiapas in Mexico or in a Palestinian village near Jerusalem. and I will find the grandmother that will give me her recipe and her way of doing it. Some black pepper, and I like very much thyme. So voila, this beautiful tray going now to the oven.
And chef, how long is that staying in the oven for?
Around 15 minutes. In between, we will have our soup, our stock. Are you smelling yours? What you are doing there, guys? Because it's not boiling yet, but it's already have. It's beautiful. The combination, I think, that of the fennel, celery, of course, onion or leeks, or both of them. This is before the spices. This is what giving the soul of this soup. The body, maybe the spices will add some more soul. So I want to check the salt. I'm not adding salt as from the beginning. There was a little bit salt that I was adding, but I will make it real salty after boiling. But sometimes the salt is also closing the vegetables, and we want them to give all what they have. These vegetables, after cooked in this stock, it's not something that you are going to eat, because all what they have was giving to the stock. Okay. So now is time to check what's going with your dishes, your pot, and time for questions and stories if you want, anything. That's the time. And I want to wash my rice. That's the way that my mom always insisted to do. And I will give you a tip, even a secret. And you can just try it right now. When you wash your rice, don't throw the water. This water is precious, because when you are cooking, onion, garlic, fish, meat, all this that's stuck to your fingers, and there your girlfriend or your boyfriend will make faces when he will smell it, when you touch him. And the secret is this water.
So chef, we should have a question from one of our participants. So we just want to just recap what we've done so far. We brushed all the vegetables with olive oil, and then we're putting them in the oven for about 15 minutes. Is that correct?
50 minutes, it's depending your oven. If it's really very hot and speedy oven, it could be ready in 10 minutes. It could take 20, 22 minutes. But we really don't want it to be cooked or completely cooked, or if we are frying it, if it's deep fried or just frying it in a shallow oil, we just want it to turn color, because then it will be cooked with the makluba, with the rice, with everything.
Okay.
So make this experiment and hold onion and just squeeze it between your finger and see how much it's stinking, especially if you don't like onion, and then dip your fingers in this water, the rice water, and nothing is working like that. It's just taking it out.
Chef, we have another question from Mayan, who asks that you said you mentioned your mother as inspiration for your cooking. So Mayan wants to know, did your mother have a background in cooking, and what was your favorite food growing up?
You know, in most of the world, and especially, no, not especially, but now especially in the Middle East, mothers are always cooking. So background in cooking is always there. I mean, without going to culinary school, you're professional, but not a professional by working in a restaurant or in a hotel, or you're professional because you're cooking from your heart, and these mothers and grandmothers are always, you know, there is a story of this mother that I'm not sure, maybe a widow and nothing to eat, and the children are crying, "Mom, we want to eat," and she will put a pot on the fire, she will add water, and she will add some stones. And she will add a little bit salt, and it will boil, and she will say, and the children will ask and say, "Soon we will have someone that will bring us something to put in," and nobody is arriving, if it's the missing father or and again and again, what to do, what to nothing. And in time, when the children are collapsing and they want to eat, she's taking dishes and adding from this water, salt, maybe some wild za'atar, and pouring to the children, and it's so delicious. They're saying, "Mom, did you got some meat?" And she's doing it like that. And I'm saying that she put a piece of her heart in this soup. So when these mothers are still cooking in this system, they're putting a piece of their heart in the dishes, so it will be always tasty. So if you're working, if you're cooking really from your heart, it will be tasty. Everybody will love it. It doesn't matter really what is the value of the ingredients that you are using. So soon we will have the vegetables ready. I'm adding more salt. Now, the salt in makluba is very tricky. We wrote down the approximate quantity, but I can tell you the exact quantity for regular rice. When I'm making makluba, I want the soup to be very salty. Because if it's just tasty like a soup, it's not what we need. We need to add like 50% more salt. Let me check the vegetables. They are not ready. But anyhow, I will prepare the pot for the
So Chef,
makluba.
Chef,
Yes.
maybe I understand that your mom is a very inspiring woman, and I was wondering if maybe you could share her story with us a little bit, and tell us a little bit about her life and her cooking and whatnot.
Okay, so my mom is still cooking for us, especially now, we are after between Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot, the Jewish New Year. And she's not so strong like she used to be, so we are helping her. But yet, there is thing that she's doing by herself. She's cooking every day for herself, first of all. She's living not far from here, in the next building next to me. She's around 88 and still cooking, reading a book or two, or no, a book in a week or in a week and a half, listening to Zoom lectures, and giving us a lot of love to my grandchildren, to my children, to me, to my sister and brother. And this mother arrived in Israel when she was around 18 with a 9-month baby, where they left everything in Iraq. The family used to have a big factory to make producing tahina and sesame oil, soap, and sweets and candies in season, especially around the high holidays, the Jewish or the Muslim. And but we left everything behind us. It was like we were permitted to take one suitcase for a family, one ring per person. So they made a ring for me. I was 9 months, because it was another piece of gold that we can take. All the rest either were taken, but we were hiding it in jars in the sand, in Amara, in Iraq, and it's still there in the sand. She arrived to aluminum shack that will be like 9 feet on 12, thin aluminum, ingredients that they used to have in Iraq, especially like rice, that Iraqi people will eat always rice, twice a day sometimes. There was no rice in Israel. Ben Gurion was creating for these people from the East things like what we call Ben Gurion rice, that it's now known as this Israeli couscous, or this pasta shaped like rice. And yes, so this, but she will cook food that as a child, I thought that this is Iraqi food. But she was cooking from what she can find and what she can get around her. And this was the food that I considered as Iraqi food. Just later on, when there was a bit more prosperity, bit more, because this time was a sort of needy time in all Israel. You get 2 eggs for a person in a week. My father brought a chicken that was already brooding, and there was chicks. So we have around this a shack. We had like a small farm. A small farm. It was a shack, a distance of 3 meters maybe, another one, and another one, and another one. Water was public, toilet was public, but they make this like a small farm. And then when we moved with some gold that we smuggled from Iraq, we bought a small stone house, and it was with our own toilet. It was in the yard because it was a small room, but it was a big difference where I planted my tree. And this mother that was already speaking and reading and writing Hebrew, that was something exceptional in this ma'abarot. Ma'abarot was this transit camps that when people arrived from all around the world, especially from the Arab countries were there. Most of the mother will not read or write. And for me, I was very proud. My parents, both of them are talking Hebrew. Time to add more salt. Yor, can you bring me the pot for the makluba? And so this mother, my great-grandmother, that I was fortunate to meet her, and she will tell me stories in Michatun. So it's stories of mothers, not only my mom. It's also some more mothers around me in this family. I'm starting to be ready for the makluba, so a little bit olive oil, just a little bit that we don't want the vegetables stuck to the bottom. And in the moment that the vegetables will be ready in the oven, I'm not sure that they are turning color, but they're ready. When you are doing it and frying the vegetables, my mom will say that it's always tastier when you are frying your food. If it's a fish, that she likes very much fish, my mom, or the vegetables for the makluba, anything fried is like tastier. Can you ask the audience if they are smelling the stock, or if there is a way to show us also some of this, or just to get some information about this?
Sure, sure. So we have Maria saying that she's definitely smelling the stock and all that. How's everyone else doing? Does anyone else have any questions about the process of where we're at the moment? Brittany also says that it smells amazing so far. Laura as well, saying everything is smelling delicious. I'm just hungry thinking about what we're about to eat. Very good. So Julie would like to know how to know when the vegetables are ready to come out of the oven. Is it just going to be the change of color? Is it just, how will she know when to take them out?
Turn a piece of the like cauliflower or the potato and see the other side, and this is what I'm going to do now. So it's already soft, but I want it a little bit more. So I will wait. How we are with time? We will need for cooking it, like minimum of 25 minutes. So let me know if should I not wait till the end,
Yes.
or and we will start to do it because it will be tasty, it will be cooked the same.
Yeah, we have about 35 more minutes, so you know, we should be able to.
Okay. And we have to do also, okay, while the makluba will be cooked, we will do the figs. So we are good in time.
And chef, while we're prepping that, I was wondering, obviously you've traveled all over the world, cooked for in many different countries and have had many different experiences. So I was just wondering, maybe you can share with us your most memorable experience as a chef, whether that's in Israel or around the world.
Oh, you know, cooking for President Peres that wrote in my guest book in Hebrew, unfortunately. And when I asked him to send him the page that he will translate it and write it in English, he said, no, no, don't send it. I will come. But he went to another place. So he wrote to the Eucalyptus restaurant, the Basson family. The Eucalyptus restaurant is not only, this is his word, serving delicious and original food, the food is also feeding the eaters with chapters of the Bible. This is my first time, or the only chance that I had to eat the Bible, not only reading it, and I find it terrifically tasty. With sweet thanks, Shimon Peres. Another one that was, for me, I was very moved, was Umberto Eco, the Italian writer that wrote Anch'io pellegrino a Gerusalemme alla tua cucina. I will be a pilgrim to Jerusalem for your kitchen. Both passed away. And another thing that is thrilling me sometimes is children that were very young children. I had last week a girl, now almost a lady, 20. She was her bat mitzvah, or before bat mitzvah, she was at my restaurant. We printed a specially cookbook for her bat mitzvah. And now after 8 years, she arrived with her parents again to eat this food, to show me the pictures from 8 years ago. And sometimes people coming with pictures from 20 years ago. It's making my day. Can you hear me? Because I'm hearing some weird noises.
We can hear you. And chef, maybe if you could just show the rest of us what the vegetables look like, so people have an idea, you know, of what they're looking for.
So we have here carrot, potatoes, mushrooms, eggplant that to my taste then didn't get enough potatoes, cauliflower, fennel, and I think that this is all. I will add some cherry tomato mushrooms. You cannot see the vegetables. I thought it's here. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, please move the vegetables over a bit.
Yeah, the tray is out of the frame. Okay, here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Now we
Okay,
can
with
see them.
little help from my friend, it's all in. And so I'm having some cherry tomato. And it's more, I start to do it more like a decoration. And then I found that it's also adding taste, but it was really in the beginning, just as a play for the camera, really. I was cooking this for a friend in, I think it was a sort of, before having blogs, I don't remember how it will be called on that time. And so a fennel goes skin side down. A mushrooms in between. I'm putting some of them in the bottom and some of them I will be adding in the second layer.
And Chef, while we're all preparing this and following your lead, would you do you have like a favorite aspect of Israeli cuisine? Obviously, Israeli cuisine is kind of an amalgamation of a lot of different cuisines from around the world. So obviously, Jews come from all around the world. But do you have like a favorite aspect of Israeli food?
I think that what's happening now all around the world with the Israeli cuisine is much more than the combination of Jewish that arrive from all around the world, is more the courage and it will sound bad, but it's the non-professional aspect or point of view of Israeli chefs is what encouraged them to do things that by the book, by the school that you were studying, you never do it. You cannot do it. But since some of us are like me, I think we learn how to, I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing it, so Michal will help me, alterizing, the alter. And by
improvising.
Improvising. So when you follow your senses and improvise, and I'm now I understand that sometimes how lucky I am that I didn't went to any school, because I will not dare to do things that I was doing and were successful dishes. If you go by the book, by the rules of the French chefs, or you never do it. So here and there is a piece of potato that was completely not cooked. So I have enough and I will not use it.
Chef, we have a quick question from Maria. So the recipe mentions that we should be putting all this in a Dutch oven. If we don't have a Dutch oven, is it okay to use a different type of pot? Are there any differences that we should, know about using a different type of pot, maybe?
Sure. With a sort of, not particularly, I'm trying to find always a sort of heavy pot, but it's not really a must. As I was mentioning in the beginning, the secret of good food is to use what you have. And again, if the name is improvising, this is what we will do. I like to have some more color, more than saffron, so I will add a bit more turmeric. So to save time, I'm starting to heat the makluba pot.
Chef, could you it's a little hard to see. Would you be able to just describe kind of for everybody what you're doing at the moment with the stock and
Yes.
what's going on exactly?
Instead of straining the soup, I'm just scooping and taking without the vegetables. As I told you, these vegetables are not really worth a lot now. They give all the taste and all their body to the stock. This is what you are smelling. Here and there, like a dry shiitake mushroom, I will add because it has still a lot of taste. Okay. Depend in your rice, especially if you have an experience with cooking and you know that you add so much liquid above your rice when you are doing the same. Don't consider all the vegetables or anything that is in. It's not the quantity here, is the surface. You have to add the same quantity above the rice that you will do with your regular rice at home. And we will bring it to the boil. I want to cover it. Just to get it quicker. And normally I'm not covering the makluba dish in this stage. Just after boiling, I will, not after boiling, I will reduce the heat and then I will cover it when it will be almost dry or no liquid on the surface.
Right. And Chef, so I know you obviously started a organization called Chefs for Peace. Would you be able to kind of just describe a little bit about what the organization does and how you decided to start the cause?
Sure. The Chefs for Peace started when my dear friend Kevork Armenian, he's from the name, he's Armenian, was in a mission with Israeli chefs and Palestinian chefs, and it was during the beginning of the Intifada war in 2001. They were cooking in Positano in Italy. And he is not really chef, Kevork, he's more restaurant manager and hotel management and so. He was sitting inside and looking at these guys cooking together, and he was holding his head, hearing the news from Israel about the war that's running here. And he's looking at these guys using big, sharp knives and doing good things. And he was saying, why not to make something that is, to make an organization to show how it's working. And that's the beginning of Chefs for Peace. In the beginning, I didn't want to join them. I thought that there is maybe too much politician. Then I found that it's really pure Chefs for Peace is without any politician. It's Israelis and Palestinian chefs that showing that with big sharp knives and hell of fire, you can do good things.
So Chef, Lewis has a question here. So is there a specific reason why makluba is a dish that you flip over to, at the end of the process?
No, sorry, can you repeat? I was out of focus.
So Lewis wants to know why makluba is a dish that you kind of like flip over at the end of the process, I guess.
No, sorry, I didn't got it.
All right. Give me 1 second.
You'll give me a clean knife. And the mascarpone, it's here.
We also have another quick question. Obviously, you have a restaurant of your own. For anyone here that might be interested in opening up a restaurant or whatnot, do you have any recommendations or something that they should know before they do so?
Yes.
My dream, by the way, is to open up a restaurant.
First of all,
I would love to.
it's really a very hard job. It's not easy. To open a restaurant, you know that in Israel, I think that it's the same in the state. Just a moment, קיביתי את זה בטעות. Okay, I have to reheat the oven, so it will take us a moment. And it's a gas oven that a sort of improvisation. So I will need just a moment to help you all. Okay, sorry, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So opening a restaurant is not just like cooking for fun at home. It's much more than that. In Israel, I think that saying the statistics that I think from any, I think that like from 10 restaurants in the first year, 7 of them or 6 of them will be closing. And so it's not really easy thing, but it's amazing thing when you'll do it, when it's a successful thing. It's very, very, very hard. You have to put all your body and soul. It's not easy job, but the result is amazing. It's not like opening a McDonald's or a pizza. Even a high-scale pizza will take much more forces from you. And be ready, prepare yourself very well. It's even though that I was saying that the best inspiration is yes, okay. They are just the moderators here. telling me that I'm working with the figs without mentioning. I think that I was saying that we will move to the figs because the makluba is soon, you see, this is the step that normally I will add the lid when it's almost dry. It's not dry, but no liquid on top. I want to add a little bit more liquid.
So chef, quick question about what we're making. So I guess the question is, why is makluba served upside down? And is that the the traditional way to serve it upside down in a Dutch oven? Can it be served in another pot? And is the traditional way to serve it upside down?
So today, in sort of sophisticated kitchens, even 100 years ago, there was an oven that will give you a heat from up and down. But when you are in the field and all what you have is a wood fire, and you cannot get up and down fire. So this way of putting all the treasures, if it's meat, poultry, or vegetables, in the bottom and covering it in a rice, like a sort of a mysterious treasure that is down there. The way is to show it up by that we are turning it upside down. We got to, by the years, to this point of making this ceremony of 7 times above the pot. Everybody is counting. If I was mentioning President Peres that was doing it, and your Vice President Kamala Harris was doing it as well at the restaurant. Jason Alexander, George Costanza was doing it. So I think that I developed, without knowing, this system of making a ceremony instead of just turning it upside down. And you must do this because this dish, when you are just serving it from the kitchen and you are piling it, it's not really looks terrific. It tastes terrific. So I found that the way of making a ceremony in front of everybody, in front of the client at the restaurant, giving it another face of fun from one side, and it's increasing the taste. Olive oil, where is my olive oil? Remind me to tell you a story about this plant. So the fig, I was making a cross above, like 1/3 depth, and I'm pushing like this a little bit. The mascarpone will go here. I'm pushing it again and like closing it. So I was taking the mascarpone that was out of the frame. Now it's in the frame, you can see it. The honey I will add later on. I have the honey behind me. So since it's not the regular way that I'm doing the makluba, because makluba is a slow food. You need time, you let it cook. Now we are in a Zoom, in a sort of a quick process. So I'm bringing it to the boil in a faster way than it should be. So that's the reason that I was adding liquid, and I'm checking from time to time the rice and waiting that it will be really ready. And the mascarpone will melt and go down to the fig, and then I will add a drop of honey.
And chef, once we do that, we're just putting them on a baking tin to go into the oven.
Yes.
Okay.
So in my kitchen, I'm not using mascarpone. I'm doing this dish. I will do it with a vegan mascarpone or cheese that we are producing from almond, making almond milk. And when we are making it a thick almond milk, it will become like a yogurt, and this is what we will use. So it's going now to the oven for, it depends how it's hot, like 7 minutes.
And chef, someone just wants to know, are you putting oil under the fig?
Yes, oil and olive oil. Because
Olive oil,
sometimes you
okay.
think that olive oil goes to like savory dishes, but the olive oil can go also to desserts.
And we also, so not everyone on this call is on this Zoom is in the same area. So for some people, figs are out of season. Is there anything that you can like replace the figs with if figs in your area are out of season?
Yes, this dish you cannot do. I will not do with the dried figs. When I'm stuffing figs, like with mushrooms or chicken breast, one of our signature dishes, by the way, it was even on Vogue magazine, I can replace it in dried figs. But this dessert you cannot do with dried figs. So you can replace it maybe with few things that could work beautifully. One of them is a persimmon, what's called Sharon fruit. The persimmon. Lior, can you bring me a persimmon? And if you are doing it with persimmon, just take the upper part like a lid, scoop the flesh out, and fill it with the mascarpone and to the oven. It will be terrific. You can do it also with the prunes that are now in season in most of the states. אני צריך לפרסמון מהמקרר. I told you about this dish. When we arrived to Israel, after a short while, my family bought from the government a bounded bakery that was affected by the war in 48. So there was it was damaged. The family bought it from the government, and my father went to the religious Ashkenazi area of Jerusalem, Mea Shearim, to make like a stage in how to make bread. It wasn't his professional. He knew how to make business and how to manage this factory of the sesame and tahina, sesame oil and tahina. By the way, this is the persimmon, Sharon fruit. Actually, it's a Chinese fruit, but who make it famous in the world is the Israeli farmers that also was producing a sort of persimmon that is not like the regular one. So if you're using persimmon, if it's not really soft one, maybe you can put it in the oven for a short time before scooping it out and preparing it. So, like that. By the way, what I'm throwing here, it's not a garbage. This goes to my chickens or to my compost. And I want to add also this. So are you with me?
I think we all are. Chef, we also have about 5 minutes, 6 minutes left. So I think people are asking if now's a good time to start plating and get that all
Okay,
ready
so we
to go.
can turn over the makluba. After turning over the makluba, we will have the figs ready. Yes. So you have all to count with me. Cannot turn makluba by myself. I need your help.
I'll count with you.
So that's the way. An accident. So are you counting with me? 1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4,
5,
5.
6, 7, and a good wish. I wish you all Shana Tova, Happy New Year, with lots of love and a peaceful life. And this will be always the best part.
I can smell it all the way from over here.
It's time for the pigs. I will take it out.
So chef, how many, the recipe that we just made, approximately how many people can it serve?
Sorry?
The recipe that we just made, the makluba, like this amount, how many people can it serve approximately?
You can see. I think that 7 starving people can eat it, but it can serve even 10. And someone saying here that it's only for him. So, but the recipe is for 6 people, if I remember.
Okay. And we also have another question about it. Is it possible to put away in the fridge or freezer and reheat, or do you recommend just eating it right away?
The makluba, I think that the best way is to eat it right away. You can put it on a very, very, very low flame or a fire, and so you can keep it. Sometimes we are doing it even overnight. You can keep the makluba really overnight because the longer you cook it, the tastier it will be. So this plate was smuggled on Jordan when the Jordanian border was near the restaurant, near our bakery in Bet Safafa. This Arab village that was in the borders of Jerusalem. And there was a lady, I will call her my Auntie Zainab, an Arab lady that was our neighbor, but she was the chief smuggler that she will bring from Jordan. The pomegranate is not in in the recipe, but since it was here around me, as well as the star fruit, I'm adding it as a decoration. So this plate that it's a real china, but the days the china was a real good thing, is with us now. I'm 72, and it's since I was child, so it's like 60, 65 years old, this plate. It's still serving us. I like to eat on Shabbat when I'm dining with my mom. I like to okay. I'm using this torch since it was too short time in the oven. But in between, I want to eat some makluba. ניתן טיפה בזהירות. Careful, I was carrying this plate for years. I don't want to break it now. So voila, you have your figs. You can again decorate it with pomegranate. The pomegranate, I have here like 5 trees of different pomegranate going in my yard, as well as lemon, lime, finger lime, figs and figs, curry, apples, grapefruit, pitanga, and goyava, a sort of tiny goyava. And this is part of the trees. I cannot remember all of them, I think. So, hallelujah. Next year in Jerusalem again. לשנה הבאה בירושלים. If we have more time and there is more question.
Thank you. And does anyone else have any last minute questions regarding like what to do, the final preparations? Michael says thank you. I'm sure everyone shares that sentiment as well.
Thank you. If there is more question after the Zoom time, please write it to us, to Michal, and I will answer it. So thank you so much. I'm going to enjoy a vegan dish today.
Thank you so much. First, thank you to David for your moderation, and a huge thank you to you, Chef, for your inspiring stories, for your instruction, your delicious recipes, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Before we end, just a few quick announcements. I'm going to throw some links in the chat. Firstly, by joining today, you earn yourself 1,500 itrek miles. So you can submit these miles in our rewards form. I'll be linking that in the chat. You'll also be receiving all of this in an email. Secondly, we have affinity groups, professional affinity groups that we'd love for you to join. If you like to network and learn from industry leaders, we have 5 groups that you can join so you can hear about our programming. We have a Slack channel. The Slack channel, you'll be able to hear about all programming coming out of the itrek network. And lastly, we have a survey that we'd love for you to fill out to hear what you thought about today. And an email will also be sending you the reimbursement form for you to get your $15 reimbursement for the ingredients that you bought for today. So I'm going to put all of that in the chat. And of course, if you do have any question, like Chef Moshe Basson said, feel free to email me. I'll send them over to Michal. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Wishing you a great rest of your weekend.